is specifically given to the church. I will build my church. Now, the reason why that's important is you need to remember something about the church that we often lose sight of, and some don't even know. While you come to church for preaching and for singing and for fellowship, and all of those are very important things, there is another purpose of the church that's absolutely critical, and that is legislating from the spiritual realm. The job of the church is to legislate from up there to down here, to bring heaven into history. That is the job of the church. It is to spiritually legislate, not just sing, not just preach, but to bring the authority from eternity in history. So it is, the church represents another realm, although it's located on earth. It represents heaven, but it's located in history. And it has been given homeland authority to operate in history from eternity. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is many Christians don't understand this. If you are disconnected from the church, you are disconnected from its legal authority in the spiritual realm. He says, and the gates of hell shall not overpower it. He says, so powerful is the church I'm building that hell can't stop it. He didn't say shall not overpower me, he said shall not overpower it, because he's referring to the church that is legislating from heaven. So when you see hell defeating the church, it's because we're not building Jesus' church, we're building our church using Jesus' name. He says the church that I am building that legislates from history, Greek word ekklesia, church, was a legal term for legislation, legislating in the spiritual to bring it into history. He says the gates of hell, gates is a legal term. In the Old Testament it says the elders met at the gate. That's like saying city council meeting, city hall, Congress, parliament. It was the place where legislation was made at the gates. So it's a legal term, because hell does not defeat you with power. Hell defeats you with legality. Hell operates on a legislature. Okay? It operates legally. And if you do not understand that, it's not just power operating, it's power operating from an illegal position, but yet from a legal posture. So he says the gates of hell shall not overpower it. Now he's talking about the church. Then he goes further. Now we come to verse 19. I will give you the keys to the kingdom. Well, kingdom is God's rule. And I'm going to give you keys. He says, I'm going to give you access to me to legislate from there.
When Jesus says yes, nobody can say no. When Jesus says yes, nobody can say no.
It is time for Yes with Yesse. Please welcome your host, Yesenia Leva.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Thursday, family. Happy Thursday. I love the applause. I love the applause. I love that welcome. It's happiness. It's joy, because it's pre-Friday and then we got the weekend. Yay. Yay weekend. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone is having a great evening. Everyone there on Facebook coming in, good evening to you. Good evening, everyone joining us on YouTube. Our YouTube family, good evening. Please share the broadcast. Please take a moment and share the broadcast. Invite your friends, family, neighbors, community, anybody in the world that has ears to listen. Let them hear and let them get a word of encouragement and just information and resources and a learning experience tonight. So go ahead and share. You know, I come on here on Yes with Yesse just to share a moment with you guys. And a lot of times I like to just provide a little bit of guidance, a little bit of information and resources and more so from personal life experiences, right? Because I think that is the best way to learn is when we go through our own situations and we trip, we bump heads, we go through all these things, but we learn. And so I love that. I absolutely love that because I think that is the only way to be. Good evening, Reverend Crescent. I see you. Good evening. Thank you for joining. I see Brother Akil. Brother Akil, thank you for joining tonight. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Please share and invite. And so, yes, it's all about our learning experiences, right? And what we can then share with others and what we can do to motivate others, to inspire others, and just to provide information to them that will help them the same way that whatever that thing is helped us. And so that's what it's all about, right? I love to bring that. I always love to bring whatever someone instilled in me. And earlier this week, something that just came to mind. Earlier this week, I asked for prayer in the morning time because I lost someone very, very special to me of a heart attack. And this person was one of my, if not the first mentor that I had, provided me with employment, taught me everything I know about disability, literally from benefits to services available. It was the person that helped me get my life together. At that time that I had basically lost everything as it pertained to my disability related services, which I've shared with you guys before. From that point on, it was any questions with my clients, anything at all. He was the person I called. He was the person next to me, and absolutely everything that I did ever since 2011, every event, every program, every show, every client, every opportunity, every award, literally everything, he was there. So it was really hard. It continues to be hard. So, but little by little. So thank you all for the prayers and well wishes on that matter. So let's get with the topic. Very recently, very recently, now that COVID is kind of, moving it along because we don't want it here anymore. It's moving along. I'm getting more opportunities to get back into the school system to advocate for our students. It is one of the most absolute best things and favorite things that I love to do. Love to advocate for the kids. However, I am noticing that we no longer have the same as individuals in this world, right? In this world of advocacy and disability related services, there's so many people that no longer have that inclusive mindset as many did pre-COVID. And I say as many did pre-COVID, I'm speaking about those that I knew personally pre-COVID and obviously now, where their mindsets have kind of transitioned from an inclusive mindset of general words that we always use to a less inclusive mindset and to a more careful mindset. In other words, let me be careful what I say. Let me be careful with the words that I use. And let me not focus so much on the inclusion of individuals or specifically of our students with disabilities during this time. And as I've been noticing that from professionals in the school system and paraprofessionals, which are those that help our students, it's kind of weird. I wouldn't use the word annoying because it's annoying to me, but that's not the right word. It's just kind of, weird and inappropriateness in a sense, because these are the same individuals that are providing services and caring for our students that have disabilities and specific needs that they need assistance with. And so it's just very weird time as it pertains to that, and it's something that I see every single day. And so another thing is, before I continue with that, the month of March is World Down Syndrome Day. So being World Down Syndrome Day, or month rather, and so many things going on in the community, it's a great platform that we are able to use to bring awareness to these kind of things, specifically on what I just touched upon, for individuals not only with Down syndrome but with all kinds of disabilities. And so that is my experience, and I literally have experienced this in very recent times, in a matter of days and weeks, as it pertains to being an advocate in the school system, advocating for my students, and people kind of tippy-toeing around verbiage and what to say, and in order, I guess, not to hurt feelings of those individuals in the room. And so what are different things that we can do? What are different kinds, if you will, of sincere guidance and conversations that we can have to help someone become a better ally, and help destigmatize disability in any way and anywhere. And so basically when I hear that, and what I think about is that, and I've said this before, it doesn't only take myself as a person with a disability and others with disabilities to advocate and to educate and to promote the inclusion, if to say it that way, or to advocate rather for inclusion. It takes everybody, and it takes it specifically, or it becomes more powerful when it comes from those that have no visible disability, or those that don't look anything like me. The same way, like I like to say, the day that things are going to change for someone that doesn't look like me is by me advocating for them, because that's where the real advocacy is. I can advocate for myself and for others that are that have disabilities until I'm out of breath, but it becomes repetitive. There she goes again. There she goes about talking about the same thing. Well, yes, I'm talking about the same thing because nothing is being done, because those that I'm speaking to are not listening, or whatever the case may be. And this is coming from somebody that has gone all the way to Tallahassee to advocate on a lot of topics, in hopes that something is going to click in these decision makers' minds and make a change. And so, has it happened the way that I would like it? Absolutely not. Not as fast enough either. But things have been done, and people do listen, as long as you don't stay quiet about the things that matter most, or about those causes that matter most to you. So advocacy matters, and the advocacy is most important when it comes from those that look nothing like me on the matters that are important to me, because if it's important to me, it should be important to everybody. The same way, if it's important to you, it should be important to me, even if you look nothing like me. And what the topic is, in a sense. So that's very, very important. Sincere guidance and conversation, definitely ways to help someone become a better ally and help destigmatize disability everywhere. And so how do we do this? We have to understand a couple things about disability, about those differences, those things that make us different and unique, right? A lot of times we want to shy away from it, and we don't want to, a lot of people don't want to have that conversation, right? And the first step is to have the true, honest, worthy conversation in order to get anywhere. So number one would be, disability is natural. It's natural, and it's a natural part of human experience. Using the words like disabled or disability are not bad words. A lot of times people tippy-toe around me like that, like special needs, different ability. I'm like, no, a disability is a disability. I don't care how you sugarcoat it, it's a disability. I was born this way. I was born with it. I live with it every single day. I adapt. It's all good. So I'm comfortable with people using the word disability around me, and I try to instill that not instill, but I try to advocate on that when I'm around my students and parents, and let them know, like, hey, it is what it is. It's not going anywhere. It is what it is. Embrace it, And when I say it's not going anywhere, it's because there's no cure. There's no surgical procedure that can be done. You're a believer, you pray, and you're healed. Amazing, and God can do that. But for me personally, I know God made me this way for a reason, and I embrace that. I no longer second guess, am I supposed to be like this? Why won't God heal me? Because God needs me this way. That's why. God needs me this way. And for as long as he needs me this way, I'm okay with that. So that's number one. It's a natural part of human experience, and the verbiage is very important, and the word disability is not a bad word. Then we go into ableism. If any of our listeners are familiar with ableism, that's, awesome. If you're not, just read on it and just kind of learn about it and what ableism really is in the context of what we are speaking about as it pertains to those with disabilities. So ableism are the attitudes and actions that devalue someone on the basis of their disability. From saying things like, what's wrong with you? Or you look normal. Yeah, some people look quote unquote normal, but they might have a hidden disability. And that's why that becomes offensive. So like saying, oh, you look normal, or structural, from a structural perspective, the lack of accessibility and not having ramps or not having a push button for someone in a wheelchair to be able to push open the door on their own. Those kind of things, because we say, oh, we don't need it. Oh, we can help them. Or, well, we don't have enough people with disabilities that can use this kind of accommodation, so we're not going to do that. And those are the kinds of things that we hear on a day-to-day from entities and from companies that legally should be and need to be ADA compliant, who choose not to because they think it is not necessary, because they can do it for them, or because they can't afford it, or because they don't want to invest in it. And those are the three reasons as to why not to provide these accommodations. In other words, in spite of those reasonings that we have, it is important and it is mandatory and legal to provide these accommodations as long as you fit within the law to do so. And so that's kind of the ableism that we're speaking of. And it could be something so much more simpler as, let's say for myself at home, or for anyone with a disability at home, everybody doing things for them constantly. You know, for me, it's, oh, don't push that, or don't roll that, I'll do it for you. Or don't carry that to the table, I'll do it for you. Or be careful, you're going to drop that, I'll do it for you. And on my end, you always want to be respectful, right? You always want to be like, thanks, but no thanks. I got it. Thanks, but no thanks. But then it gets kind of aggravating and annoying in a sense, because I know that I can do it on my own, but you constantly want to stop me because you think I can't do it on my own, and you rather do it for me to make it easier for me, or because I might fall, or whatever your reasoning is. So that's something that I have to work on every day, to know that no one offers you help maliciously or because they're being mean. Obviously they want to help and they want to be nice and helpful, but we have to teach one another how much help is too much help, where it becomes an ableist or an ableism mentality. And that's very, very important in all walks of life, in all structures, in all places, home, community, wherever it is. And so I'm comfortable when I get to go somewhere and just be me, without people constantly asking me, can I help you? Can I do this for you? Or, you know, whatever it is, because I'm comfortable. I feel comfortable knowing that they have enough confidence in me to be able to do things on my own. However, it is not okay for me to not accept help when somebody is simply being nice to me by asking me if I need help, especially in community. For example, one day somebody said, can I tie your shoe? And I was like, I got it. You know, right away I went into that. I got it. I don't need you to tie my shoe. But if I would have been nice about it and I would have said yes, it would have been much easier for me, because I wouldn't have had to do the whole operation that I have to do when it comes to tying my shoe out in public. And I understood that, and he helped me to understand that. And so it's okay to say yes to people that want to help you. I think it's just a matter more of how they approach you in asking if you need help. And obviously on my end, and anyone with a disability, to let it be okay to receive the help and not feel like getting that help is something negative because you can't do it, or, you know, all these things that we put in our head. We have to stop that. We definitely have to stop that mindset that it's not all about us. It's not all about the disability. It's not all about what they cannot see. They're just trying to be nice. And so all of that has a lot to do with the ableism mentality on both ends. Now that I'm talking out loud and listening to what I'm saying, there comes that ableism mentality on both sides of the coin. So we definitely have to be very careful with that. Very, very, very careful. And so there's no, another thing with that actually is in conversation and in just speaking, we talk about the disability or the disabled community. That is something that kind of drives me crazy. But that drives me crazy because I'm this like inclusive person where I believe like everybody matters and you know, we should all live life together. And so when we say this community, the disabled community, you know, or the community of people with spina bifida or the mental health community, that's something that we need to try our best to put an end to, because everyone has different needs, but we can all help in providing a solution to those needs or resources or whatever is needed as one community, because we are the human race. We are one community. We're just different people, different needs, different backgrounds, different everything. But that doesn't mean that we need to be doing life as, you know, as independent as or as alone as we think. And actually, I might have mentioned this before, but there's this doctor, Dr. Condalucci. He's a huge advocate for community inclusion and all those things that I love. And I'm sitting in his class one day when I graduated from Partners in Policymaking a few years ago. I think it was 2016. And he said, as people with disabilities, we are so conditioned to independence and I can do everything by myself mentality that we forget to realize that what really matters is to be interdependent, because no single person, no one person can do anything on their very own. And so why not be interdependent and accept that reality in a sense versus that total independence, because we are interdependent. And we talk about it in ministry all the time. You know, we need everybody because everybody has gifts and talents and things that they do well, right? And we need each other to make it work. So the same thing goes for an individual and for a human like myself. I'm not 110% independent as much as I advocate for it and preach that, if you will. And when I came to that realization, it really bummed me out. It really bothered me because I'm like, here I am preaching independence to everybody I come across or anybody that comes across me, all of my students. And my students range from 5, 6, 7 years old all the way up to adulthood. And here I am preaching independence, yet I'm not fully 110% independent. It's because nobody truly is. So I was more receptive and I became a little more comfortable with the fact that I'm not 110% independent when I realized how important interdependence truly is. And so that, in my own special way, is what I try to instill, if you will, in the students that I advocate for, or any student that comes around me, because it's true. It's true. For a lot of us, we're never going to be 110% independent by ourselves on our own, and it's okay. As long as we can do, or as long as we do what it is that we can do on our own, and if we can't, know and accept that we are interdependent and that it's definitely okay to be interdependent and not 110% independent. It's the same way somebody can say, I don't need help. I can do everything on my own, whether they have a disability or not. And that person has to realize we are interdependent. You need people. I need people. People need people. Everybody needs each other. So that's definitely something that I learned. So we're one community, people. We are interdependent and we are one community, one people, regardless of our differences. And so we have to also, with all of this, and for some people it might be like, what are you talking about? Because it's important for me that, for me, it's like I've been given a platform, right? As crazy as it sounds, it's like I've been given a platform as a person with a disability. My platform is to be an advocate. It's to provide services. It's to be an advocate in my community, in schools, and all these things that I absolutely love to do. But with all of that, one of the things is that we have to learn how to use the right language. Learn how to use the right language. And really that doesn't pertain only to disability. That could be cultural, that could be whatever whatever topic we're talking about, we have to use the right language, because we talk about identity, or we hear a lot about identity, right? And when I was reading about this, I was like, that makes sense, right? So we have to learn to use the correct language, because language is one of the most important signals that we have to demonstrate our acceptance or rejection of a person's identity. Specifically for me, as a person with a disability. Well, I shouldn't say for me, because I'm really not a language. I don't want to say I don't care what language is used. Of course I care, but I'm not as picky. I'm not as picky when it comes to using the word disability, or somebody saying you're disabled, or it's just not my thing. I think there's bigger things to worry about than things like that. But for some people, it is imperative. It is very important. And I definitely understand why. So if you say somebody handicapped, this handicapped girl, I'm gonna look at you like you got three eyes if you're referring to somebody like that, because that's not the proper way or the proper words to use, because we do not identify with that disability. We don't identify as handicapped. Back in the day, I used to joke around and say, I'm not handicapped, I'm handicapable. But that's not correct terminology either. So girl with a disability, girl with spina bifida, always person first language, because that's how I identify. And that's my battle, to be honest, 110% honest, even though I say, like, I don't care how people refer to me. I do in a way, because I think that how people refer to me is how they're going to refer to somebody else. So I think it's important. But for example, in media, huge in media representation. Media representation. When I hear media and I hear the news stories that come about people with disabilities, you don't see very many, by the way, or articles that are written, I'm like, what is happening right now? Because I think that one of the most important areas in our life that should have correct representation of verbiage and stories and both the positive, the good, the bad, and the ugly is the media and radio and all of that, because that is who we listen to. We will probably listen to a reporter, an anchor, or a co-host. We will probably listen to them more than our own people, because they're influential. They're a big influence in the community. So I believe in representation in media, proper representation in media, 110%. So it is definitely important to learn to use correct language, because it's one of the most important signals that we have to demonstrate our acceptance or rejection of a person's identity. And so with that, it's important, very, very important, to be an ally, not to put on the blind eye because it doesn't pertain to you, or because you don't live it, or because you don't understand it, or whatever it is. Because as people with disabilities, you are who we're counting on to advocate, to help in the advocacy. You're who we're counting on to change the laws. You're who we are counting on to open opportunities, to open doors of opportunities in the workplace, in school, in colleges, in universities, in churches, everywhere. So I will always say that it starts with me, absolutely, as a person with a disability, because it is my responsibility, but it also starts with our allies, those that look nothing like me, those that do not have disabilities, and those that have a platform to provide opportunity. Good evening, Sister Laurel, listening to us from 89.1, just wanting to check in. Thank you so much. I love that emoji. So yes, guys, be the allies. Switch it around. Switch it around, change that conversation, be the allies, be that person to make the change. To use your voice, to use the tools that you have to be the voice and to be the change in the lives of the people that need it most. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it because I live it every single day. It's fun. It's nerve-wracking. It's a lot, but I love it, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. As crazy as that sounds, I wouldn't change it for anything in the world, because I get to do the most amazing things, the funnest things, the most challenging things at times, and listen to the most challenging stories. Sometimes I think I have the most challenging story, and I don't. And I thank God for that every single day, because I don't. There's others that have more challenging and more heart-wrenching stories, and so I'm very, very grateful. Good evening, Sister Marcia, Sister Mina. Thank you for joining tonight. I see you guys again, Sister Laurel. Yes, independence versus codependent or interdependent, rather. Interdependent better than codependent. Something like that. So thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Time flies when you're having fun. Time flies when you're having fun. So remember, we have a lot of awesome things coming up here in New Season Gospel FM, New Season Worship Center. It's the place to be. It's the place to be. Don't forget to join us tomorrow morning for In His Presence at 6:30 a.m. And then Fun Friday, like I like to call it, on the Pastor Steve Show alongside Pastor Henry tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And you and I will see each other all over again tomorrow. I will see you guys all over again tomorrow night for Latin Gospel Jams. You don't want to miss it. And so I want to tell you guys just very quickly about something we have coming up that is going to be absolutely amazing, and I am very, very excited. That word amazing just came out very Cuban. Amazing. So April 9th, which is just shy of a month away, I will be hosting my ninth annual, yes, Funclusion event, which I've talked about before. It's promoting the inclusion of persons with disabilities through entertainment. So we're getting performers with and without disabilities. We're having spoken word poetry, and it's just going to be an awesome time. The title of our show this year is Future Floristic Funclusion Experiences, and you guys don't want to miss that. I will be posting it after the show on my social media. Again, you guys will see it if you go there, just Yesse Leva or Yes with Yesse Facebook group page. It's going to be an awesome time. So I will be telling you guys a lot more about it. Like and follow April 9th at 6 p.m. here locally in South Florida at the Broward Center for the Performing Arts. First time in theater style, so I am very, very, very excited, and I look forward to seeing you guys. So I will be sharing that information, and pray for a successful event and to see y'all there. So it's going to be awesome. Again, representation matters, and that is what this event is all about to me. Inclusion, diversity, all the way. So I love it, love it, love it. More surprises to come as we get closer. And with that, thank you everybody for joining again. And I will see you guys again tomorrow night for Latin Gospel Jams. Have fun. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Don't do anything I wouldn't do on a Thursday evening, okay? Remember to like and share and invite your family and friends to always join us with here on New Season Gospel FM, and support your favorite station. Don't forget to please support your favorite station. Ways to give are on the screen, and if not, you can do so right on the website on newseasonfm.com. Until then, guys, I will see you soon.
Know that he'll work it on. Anybody out there side of me? Know that he'll work it on. Standing in the need of
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.